When you're looking for a mobile workstation, the question isn't just how fast can it go. It's can I actually rely on it day in day out, without it turning my workflow into a circus? Most of us have been there. We pull out a brand new laptop, only to discover the battery dies before the meeting ends, the screen flickers on a sunny terrace, or the heavy CAD files we need for client work grind the processor to a halt. Those pain points are why I spent the last few weeks digging through forums, watching a handful of YouTube deep dives, and comparing the HP ZBook 8 G1 as a true workhorse versus the hype of its specs. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, the ZBook 8 sits in a sweet spot for professionals who need serious compute power on the go, but can't afford to lug around a full-size desktop. The 14-inch WUXGA display is crisp enough for detailed design work, but its real advantage shows up when you're moving between conference rooms, client sites, or a co-working space. I ran a couple of real-world scenarios. One day I used it to render a 3D architectural model with the Radeon 890M GPU while on a train, and another I opened a massive Excel workbook with thousands of linked data tables during a video call. In both cases, the laptop kept up, and the AI-enhanced processing cores seemed to prioritize the active workload without draining the battery prematurely. Who should buy this? If you're a CAD engineer, an architect, or a video editor who regularly juggles large, CPU-intensive files and needs a portable solution that can still hold its own in a workstation-class environment, this ZBook is a solid match. The Ryzen 9 HX Pro375 processor provides enough cores to let you compile code, run simulations, or edit 4K footage without the typical lag you see on thinner ultrabooks. The 32GB of RAM is generous for multitasking, and the 1TB SSD means you're not constantly fighting for storage space when you transfer project files from a client's server. On the other side of the equation, if your daily tasks revolve around email, web browsing, and occasional office documents, the ZBook 8 probably overdelivers for you. The price point aligns more with high-end workstations, so you'd be paying a premium for horsepower you'll rarely tap. Also, if you're a gamer who wants something that can double as a high framerate machine, keep looking. The Radeon 890M is tailored toward professional workloads, not peak gaming performance. Now let's talk about the practical strengths that set this laptop apart from the usual big specs talk. The AI-powered optimizations in the Ryzen chipset actually make a noticeable difference in everyday tasks. For instance, when I opened a massive Revit file, the system auto-scaled resources to prioritize the viewport rendering, which shaved several seconds off load times compared to a comparable laptop without that AI layer. The same thing happened when I used Adobe Premiere Pro. The AI helped the GPU allocate memory more efficiently, so the preview playback never stuttered even when I applied multiple effects. Battery life is often a make-or-break factor for mobile professionals, and the ZBook 8 manages about 6 to 7 hours of mixed usage, a bit lower than some ultrabooks, but respectable for a workstation that houses a dedicated GPU and a 32-core CPU. What matters is that the power management settings are intuitive. You can switch between performance and battery saver modes with a single key press, and the system instantly recalibrates the AI cores to accommodate the new profile. The downside: if you're in a scenario where you need to run a full render overnight without plugging in, you'll need to plan for an external power source or a spare battery pack. Thermals are another real-world consideration. The ZBook's cooling system is robust enough that the laptop stays just warm to the touch during intensive tasks, but you'll notice a faint fan hum when the AI cores kick into high gear. That's a trade-off you accept for the sustained performance. Unlike cheap laptops that throttle dramatically under load, the ZBook maintains its clock speeds, which is exactly what you want when you're on a deadline. The English keyboard, while standard, feels tactile enough for long typing sessions, and the Meteor silver chassis gives a professional aesthetic that doesn't scream, "I'm a tech geek," in a boardroom. The 14-inch screen, though not as large as a 15-inch workstation, strikes a good balance. It's large enough to comfortably view multiple windows side by side, yet compact enough to fit in a typical airline-approved carry-on bag. I tested the display outdoors, and the anti-glare coating performed well under bright daylight, though you'll still want a shaded spot for color-critical work. One practical weakness that shows up is the port selection. The ZBook 8 comes with a handful of USB-C and a single HDMI port, which is fine for most users. But if you need to connect multiple peripherals simultaneously, say, an external monitor, a fast Ethernet dongle, and a drawing tablet, you'll likely need a dongle hub. That's not a deal breaker, but it adds a small accessory cost that you should